In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the windows in my tiny house. They were made from reclaimed windows that were pulled out of older houses when they were updated with vinyl replacement windows. I didn't choose to use vinyl windows, double pane windows in this house because I find a lot of them pretty unattractive, and to get into a level of window that does look really nice, you pay quite a bit to get a wooden replacement window that's double paned. Plus, I really like these windows, and just the way I wanted to work with them. I just wanted to work with reclaimed materials, not for any particular reason, just because it was fun. I had access to a lot of windows from knowing a man that does replacement windows, pretty much an unlimited number of them, and just wanted to make them. Also, I didn't spend a dime for the windows, got them all for free. The only thing I did pay for is the wooden frame around them, which is made out of 2x4s, which are very inexpensive for the amount that I needed. Some 3-inch zinc-plated hinges. Those came from Lowe's. They were $3 or $4 per pair, so basically per window. And then in the end, trimming around the outside of the windows. I have not trimmed the inside, but the outside was trimmed with a 1x6 material that was very inexpensive, $1.50 for a 1x6 by 8 foot board. So all in all, these windows were done extremely inexpensive. One of these windows, all the windows together were far less than any one window that I could have bought new at a store. I probably have $50 at most in all the windows, and that even includes the stained glass windows. The majority of the money was in the hinges. So there's probably $30, $40 worth of hinges or so on the house. Other than that, it was some very inexpensive material. So not sure exact amount, but it was thereabouts around that $50 probably material. So last thing I would say is they are single pane windows. I've gotten a lot of comments on some of my other videos about people basically thinking I'm going to just keel over and freeze to death in the house because they're single pane and not double pane. While I do live in an area that does get fairly cool in the winter, it's not as extreme as a lot of places. Getting into the 20s is about as cold as it gets on average, and it dips below that very rarely. But so I'm not that concerned. The amount of cubic airspace in the house is very small. I'm going to be heating with wood anyway, so I'm not going to pay for it in money. I will pay for it in a little time as far as getting the wood together. I'll also supplement with some electric and maybe even some propane heat. But all in all, this house is going to be fully insulated. It's teeny. If anything, I'm going to have to crack a window to where I just don't end up baking inside the house and drying up like a mummy. But I guess that is pretty much all that I would say. We can just go ahead and go back in time to when I was making these. I didn't do too much video back at the time. When I made the windows, I wasn't intending on doing a YouTube channel dedicated to building the house, so I won't have too much video of me making them, if any. I'm not sure. I've got to go back and see what I've got. But I did do some video today kind of showing the different details, and I'll narrate over that talking about it. So thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of the video. This is the style window we're going to be talking about first, and they are located all around the bottom of the house and then also in the upper loft. They are made from different size sashes. Some of them are the same, but then the variation are the ones in the bathroom and the kitchen, and then up in the loft. The other windows are slightly larger. And they were all made from recycled windows. Here's an example. These are a bunch that have been collected up. And to choose which ones were right, I just was pulling from those windows until I figured out that these would be best, and had to trim those down on the table saw, cutting off different bevels and so on. Then the frames themselves are made from 2x4 material, and did cut a little ledge on the bottom that would make the water run off and keep water from coming inside. So those windows are for the loft, and then the rest were made the same. And here's that same window mounted in its opening in the loft of the tiny house. And as I mentioned in the first part of the video, these are awning style windows, so they hinge from the top as I'm showing there, and they'll later be made to where they can stay open. And here's a detail of the bevel on the bottom of the window frame to make sure water does not come inside, and a shot of the hinges on top of the windows and in the window frames. And how I got those mortised in were with this little simple jig and my Bosch Colt router. It's a little laminate trim router using a flush trim bearing bit. So you need to use a thicker material for your jig. And there's some of the framing on the window frames that's in between the double windows. and then showing how they attach into the house. It's just a rough opening, and then the window slips in, and I kind of get it shimmed and leveled up with some different wood. That's some OSB. And I wanted to also show the exterior trim. It's very simple, made out of 1-inch material with the bottom of it angled to where water runs off, and that's the window open there. And to finish off the section on these windows, I wanted to show some extra wide shots of the interior. This is one entire side of the house, then this is the other. It's kind of covered up by some stuff, and then also the corner that makes up the kitchen. And lastly, there's the window in the loft, and they're on both sides. Alright, next up is talking about some of the stained glass windows. Well, all of them, I guess not some of them. And there's the one that's over top of the porch. And there's a mirrored one on the opposite side, just a different design, but same dimensions and overall shape. So you saw the one up in the loft, and then that's the one on the far side of the house. And you can also see the two round ones on the left and right of the loft too. There's a close-up of the one that's over top of the front door. And here's in the loft, and that shows the construction of these. It's all made out of 2x4s, same as the other windows, just with an arch top. There's the design. And so as you see, they open up like little French doors, or whatever you call these types of windows. And I hinged these with little brass hinges, and these also came from Lowe's too. And the construction of these windows is fairly simple. It's all made out of spruce. Same goes for the little inner parts, the doors, and all of the actual stained glass I got for free. It was scrap glass. I did another video on that, and I'll probably post that on this channel also. And right where I just ran my finger was showing where the trim's going to go. And those are the only old photos I have of building it. And this is a real simple jig I made that to get the windows put together. That cut the splines and the arches. So they're just put together with some simple splines. Next up is talking about the little porthole sized windows, and these were really fun to make. I made these first. They are made the same way as the top of the arches on the other windows, and you can see them left and right of the loft there. There's 4 total. There's 2 sort of to the left and right of my head there. It just consisted of coming up with a design, cutting it out of glass, and doing the little foil tape and soldering them together. Made the windows first, and then got a design laid out, and then cut out the pieces, and then splined them together the same way I did the arches. So there they are, just clamped up with some band clamps. And afterwards you can clean them up. Did it on a little spindle sander, and then routed the groove for the actual glass to drop down into. And that is the jig that I used for those. And there is a leftover little arch. I made an extra one in case I messed something up way back when I made them. And so there they are. And that pretty much completes all the different types of windows. There were the regular ones, the arch tops, and the little round porthole size windows. And just to give you an idea of scale of the windows and of the loft area and how you would interact with those windows, here is a little clip just kind of showing me crawling around, showing what it's like up in there. Sometimes it's when the camera's just pointing without someone in the picture, it's hard to get an idea of the scale. So this is me pretending the camera's not there and peering out of the window. Well, I do hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions at all, just be sure to let me know in the comments below or by sending me a message. You can follow me on Facebook if you would like to see more, and if you're not already a subscriber here on YouTube, click the red subscribe button after this clip, and you'll get updates when I post future videos. Thanks for watching.